Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Sheikh Awad, even though I understood nothing at all. I was just sitting there. Inshallah, it is a completion of yesterday's speech, which we haven't completed. It has something to do with the temptations which are ahead of the youth. And this is what we said yesterday in this speech. Today we're living in a society where temptations seem to be reaching its peak. And we haven't yet come up with any kind of protection against all these things. And it seems that our youth now are diving in deep oceans of temptations, trails, and tribulations, and all these things. So inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we point out to a couple of things which inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us overcome these kinds of things. There's going to be a symposium which is going to be held by the sheikhs, and we'll be tackling these kinds of issues inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm not giving a long lecture regarding this. Another thing, there was a promise we made last year. I don't know if any one of you could remember it. Last year we said that it was the first annual conference of Ansar al-Sunnah. We said that the coming year, each one of us will work on conveying Islam to somebody who's not yet Muslim. So he's going to bring her along with him, with her, to the gathering, so that that person is going to take the Shahada here in front of all these beautiful faces. This is the promise we made last year. Anybody remembers this? Ma xusuusataan sanad hore inaan ku ballanay in mutamarka soo socda sida kii hore oo kale la soo kaxayn doono dad shahaadada qaata. Yaa xusuusta? Okay, inshallah, because nobody wants inay xujada ku oganto. Anyway, is there any non-yet Muslim who's with us today in the gathering who wants to take the Shahada? Ma jira qof la soo kaxeeyey oo maanta inuu shahaadada qaata rabo. Maxaa yeelay, when we have like these beautiful conferences, waa in conferenceigu uu yeesho miro u yeesho. Mirihiisana waxaa ka mid ah qof soo islaama in la helo. San hore dad baa dadaalay, dad baa la soo kaxeeyey. Conferenceyada meelaha kale aan ku qabana saas oo kale dad baa la soo kaxeeya. The reason meesha lagu sheegayo luqadda Swahiliga iyo English lagu sheegayo, dee dadka meesha fadhiya waa Soomaali. Ujeedada waxay tahay in aanu hore u soo kaxayno dad islaamka u baahan oo runtii u haraadan in meesha la keeno. Runtii sanadka kan tabcan sidii sanadka hore inuu ahaadaan jeclahay. Laakiin I don't know if there is any not yet Muslim who wants to take the Shahada. Inshallah, the sheikhs will be sitting backstage over there, so you can come inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yesterday's translation, that number one, if you wanna be protected against what is called atheism, which is so high among the youth. Now, if somebody comes and embraces Islam and says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, we all burst into chanting takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But do we know that there are people from us, from a community, where we're losing them day after another? Some who are apostating, some who are now embracing new ideas which are quite contrary to Islam. Some are now, spreading among the youth something which is against the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how can I protect myself against all these kinds of temptations? There is only one thing, which is to adhere to the Qur'an. Al-Qur'an is Allah is a strong rope, is a clear light. It's something that protects us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, hold on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only when Islam addresses this, that it means that we all get to be united in one place. But the reason is that whenever there is some sort of, let us say, confusion, doubts, whims, corpses, and whatever, you name it, whatever you have it, there is only one thing that will cure you, will remedy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's going to be the Quran, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here, if you just have a look at the biography of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were some doubts which being stirred by the hypocrites, by the non-Muslims. But the answers of those confusions which were being stirred could only come from the Holy Quran. When they said Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was left alone and he's not going to receive any revolution at all, there is a Quranic verse which says, "Ma wadda'aka rabbuka wa ma qala." Oh Muhammad, you haven't been left alone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal to you. They're gonna come, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala wahi. So if you have any doubt about anything, the only thing that can protect you is that you resort to the Holy Quran by reading it, going deep into it, having some contemplations on it, pondering in it, going deep into the ocean of the peerless that Quran does have, asking the religious scholars, sitting with them, attending at these beautiful gatherings, participating in conferences like this. This will help us, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, adherence to the laws of Allah by coming up with good deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ فَعَلُوا مَا يُوعَظُونَ بِهِ لَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُمْ أَشَدَّ تَثْبِيتًا. Had they done that which they have been told, that would have been better for them. وَأَشَدَّ تَثْبِيتًا, and that would keep them firm in Islam. This steadfastness that we're looking for could only be found in Islam. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. The third point is that making dua. We don't know. Just make up, put your hands up into the air and offer supplication and say, oh Allah, guide me. There is a beautiful Quranic verse we have in Surah Al-Imran. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ. Who can help me? رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. Oh Allah, do not deviate our hearts. Do not make our hearts deviated after you guided us. So the Prophet ﷺ, even though he was a prophet, even though he was a messenger, even though he was receiving a revelation from the heaven, even though he's being talked to by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he used to say in his prostration, Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulubi, thabbit qulubana ala dini. Oh Allah, it is you who turns the heart up and down. So, oh Allah, make my heart firm in Islam. Even the Prophet ﷺ, who was the prophet, whose sins were forgiven, was doing that. What about me and you people? What about me and you? Those who are very poor, those who don't have, beautiful deeds in their account. Another thing is, we just remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as you could. By tongue, by heart, by, prostrating Allah, by offering or giving sadaqah to the needy people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا لَقِيتُمْ فِئَةً فَاثْبُتُوا وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. If you meet your enemy, remain there steadfast. And do mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. So we're talking about somebody who is standing. Okay. We're talking about somebody who's in the battlefield, who's fighting against his enemy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, despite that critical moment, when the person is, in such a bad situation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Do mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. So that will enable us to remain firm in the battlefield, to remain firm when it comes to the winds of confusions, the winds of doubts, the winds of whims, the winds of desires, the winds of corpses. We will stand against all that. We will stand in a way that you cannot imagine. Another thing is that the reason why all those learned scholars are being invited to a gathering like this, and we have sitting with them time from time, is that we ask them whatever doubts we have about Islam. Don't just say, okay, I went through the Holy Quran and I turned the pages one after another, then I came across a single Quranic verse which I don't understand what it means. So instead of you coming in front of people, writing an article saying that Islam is like that, I've got a doubt about this Quranic verse, this Quranic verse that cannot go hand in hand with the contemporary, situation of the world. Instead of you saying that, please sit and consult with a scholar. Sit and consult with a scholar. The scholar, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bifadlillahi jalla wa ala, will be able to at least help you understand what this Quranic verse means. And this is what the companions used to do. They never came up with interpretations from their own minds. They never went against Allah's law. They never interpreted the Quran in the way they wanna. They never interpreted the narration of the Prophet ﷺ in the way they want. But what they did was that they went to the Prophet ﷺ. Oh Prophet, there is a Quranic verse that says so. So what is the meaning of this Quranic verse? You all know that Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha, when she came to the Prophet ﷺ, she said, oh Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَسَوْفَ يُحَاسَبُ حِسَابًا يَسِيرًا, and he's gonna be reckoned in a very easy manner. You're talking about huge and difficult things. And the Prophet ﷺ says, مَنْ نُوقِشَ فِي الْحِسَابِ عُذِّبْ. It doesn't mean like that, but if you are reckoned thoroughly, deeply, asking about every action, every word that you uttered, that's going to be some sort of, hell to you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to do it. Yes, she had some, misunderstandings with regard to a Quranic verse, on the contrary of a narration which she thought was somehow contradicting with the Holy Quran. But having asked the Prophet ﷺ, she found the right answer she was looking for. And this is a very important thing. Guys, in Allah fududaysan wey. Maanta طبعا موضوع مؤتمرka waxaa qayb ka noqon lahaa, laakiin suurtagalka aanu ahayn wax loo yaqaan atheism. Waagii hore innagu waxaanu ka hadli jirnay muxaadaraadka meelaha aanu sugin maan waxaa laga hadli jiray hala tukado, hala soomo, hala salaado. Laakiin meelaha kala duwan aanu ka nimid iyo waxa baraha bulshada maanta lagu qoro waxa su'aalo waxa soo baxay aan soomay maxaan u soomayaa, aan zakeeyay maxaan u zakeynayaa, horta ilaahana digala hadlaysid horta ii sheeg sida uu muuqdo. Waxa soo baxay mawja ilhaadiya caarima, waxa soo baxday atheism aad u sareey. Atheismkaas marka wuxuu nooga baahan yahay aqoon. macnaheeda ma marka aan professorka wax ii sheegay college-ka aan joogo wuxuu aniga iga soo buuxiyay anoo la orday inaad dadka la soo gala maaha iyadoo aadan hubinayn waa inaad dhacdaa run ahaantii. qofka waxa laga yaabaa first year of the college, the second year of the college, the third year of the college inuu qaato philosophy inuu barto. falsafada markuu barto isagoon diyaarsanayn, quraan uma diyaarsana, xadiis uma diyaarsana, basic uma diyaarsana. ninkan ku hor jooga ee aanan muslimka ahayna طبعا meesha shaqo uu jooga, shaqadiisa waxa laga yaabaa inuu maantan uu ku dhigay mathkii ama uu ku dhigay scienceskii sida ay rabtid uu kugu dhigay ama sida ay tahay. But there is 1% oo ku jiro, hal percentage ba waxa ku jira oo la rabo in islaamka markaa lagaga barbixiyo. halka marka waa mowduucan u baahannahay, waana nadwada iman doonto culimada ay kaga hadli doonaan الشباب بين الشهوات والشبهات, waa mowduucan dhamaystiri doono mar haddii ay scholars yimaadeen. It means that my time has finished. Anyway, let me renew the promise with you again. Let me renew the promise with you again. Do you have time? Okay, do we promise that we bring people who are not yet Muslims next year to the conference? Please, those of you who are ready to do that, put your hands up. Put your hands up. sanadka dambe ballan ma tahay in aanu soo kaxayna dad aanan muslimiin ahayn u baahan islaamka? Okay, those who are willing to do that, put your hands up, guys. Put your hand. Sisters are not ready, maybe, they're not putting, or they may not have understood the English. Diyaar ma u nahay inaanu keenno dad aanan muslimiin ahayn sanadka soo socda oo islaamka halkan lagu sharxo, culimada ay u sharxaan ayna islaamaan, ajirkooda idinku aad yeelataan. Diyaar ma u tihiin? Put your hands up. Put your hands up. gacmaha kor u taaga. Put your hands. qaar baa waxay u fahmayaan Englishka af Soomaaliya gadaal u dhigo saas oo kale. Right, anyway, you understood me. Inshallah, next year, what we are planning, inshallah, next conference, it won't be confined to the Somali community. It won't be confined to the Muslims. It will be for all. So those of brothers and sisters who do not understand our language, they should be brought here. They should be brought to the gathering so that we can tell them about Islam. In order for them to embrace Islam, to take the Shahada, we should do that. Jazakumullahu khairan. Say wa iyyak. جزاكم الله.